Inside My House by Rosie Ross. Listen, I know what I'm about to say will sound crazy, and trust me, if it wasn't for the fact that I experienced this firsthand, I wouldn't even believe it. But the truth is, I did experience this, and what I'm saying is true, and something like this did happen. All I ask is, whoever reads this, heeds my warning, and doesn't end up like me. It was about 9 weeks ago that I moved into my new house. It was a little bit out of town and surrounded by the woods, but it was cheap, so I thought it was a pretty good steal. Oh, how wrong was I? If I could go back, I would have never gotten that house. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Anyway, the house is pretty good shape, and more than enough room since I lived alone. The owner who was selling it did act a little weird, and even had an almost pity look in their eyes when I agreed to buy it. When they showed me the house, they remarked, "Y'all know, if I was you, I wouldn't live out here so close to the woods." I shrugged off their comment to them just trying to make a joke. Little did I know they were trying to warn me. After I bought the house, I had all my stuff moved in, and for the first 4 days I had no problems. The house was everything I wanted. That was until the fifth night came around. I got home from work at 11 p.m. I work an evening shift from about 3 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. I was getting ready for bed. I had to lay down in bed and was just drifting off when I heard what sounded like a mountain lion screaming. While it did sound off, I brushed it off, seeing as how they do often frequent the area. And I did live near the woods. This would occur every night. Sometimes the screaming would last 5 minutes, and sometimes it would last up to 12 minutes. Sometimes the scream would stop, and then start right back up 30 minutes to an hour later. After 2 weeks of living there, the sound of claws scratching up my house and windows would occur with the screaming. I had got enough of it and decided to check around my house the next morning. Upon inspection the next morning, I confirmed there was something outside my house. There were claw marks that varied in depth and looked really rugged. Whatever it was, has very uneven claw marks. I called the local wildlife services and had them come take a look. They inspected the claw marks and listened to what I had to say about my sleepless nights and came to the conclusion that it was a mountain lion, possibly one with rabies. Seeing as how I was so comfortable being near human life, I was advised not to go outside at night to avoid a possible confrontation with it. They assured me they would do their best to capture it. I appreciated their help. I thought that after that, everything would go back to normal. But it was just the start of it. For a few nights after that, I didn't have any problems with the mountain lion, but everything quickly escalated after just 4 nights. That night, it came back, but it had prey as well. It was so close I swear I could hear the sound of bones breaking, skin tearing, and flesh being ripped off. The thought and image of it made my stomach turn, and I rushed to the bathroom to throw up. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I waited till the morning to go out and check exactly what happened. Knowing what I know now, I should have taken that as a warning. In the morning, I checked the backside of my house, which faced the woods. And right where my bedroom window is, there was a big pool of almost dried blood, with some pieces of flesh, fur, and bone. Holding my mouth and forcing my bile back down, I followed the blood trail that almost led to the woods. Just a little bit into the woods, I discarded what was left of the prey. It was completely mutilated, so much so I couldn't tell what it was. Its guts were strewn out, with some pieces of fur covering some parts. There were some bones, including what looked like a half-bitten skull. I couldn't take it anymore, so I turned around and dry heaved. Luckily, I had not eaten anything so far. I felt sick to my stomach, so I called into work. Then I called the wildlife services. Once they got to my house, I showed them what I discovered. Even though they looked sick to their stomach, they cleaned the poor animal. After that, they checked the area, and upon not finding anything, left. But told me to call again if there was anything like this. Stuff like this continued for another 3 weeks. Sometimes I'd find a dead animal from the mountain lion's late night snack, or I'd find some claw marks by my house or on the ground. I even started feeling like I was being watched by something. You can call me crazy all you like, but I was, and still am convinced that I knew what it was doing, and it did it just to torment me. Over the 3 weeks, my mental and physical health suffered. I would even start to hallucinate that there was something in my house, but upon further inspection, there would be nothing there. I didn't sleep much, started to eat less, and my performance at work was horrible. I had finally had enough and wanted to confront this mountain lion. I was convinced it wasn't a mountain lion, but something worse. And against my better judgment, I wanted to face it and kill it. This was the biggest mistake of my life. When night came, I grabbed my flashlight, my shotgun shells, and headed out into the dark night. As I walked further into the woods, I could hear both distant and close sounds of twigs snapping and the sound of growls. I shivered in cold fear, but my determination commanded my legs to move forward. I continued on, but soon heard those inhuman screams. They sent chills down my spine and made me stop dead in my tracks. The screams were so close and so loud they pierced my ears. Off to my left, I could hear the bushes rustling. Thankfully, I snapped to my senses and dodged out of the way as something jumped at me. Although I didn't fully get out of the way, I still managed to cut my side just a little. Even though it was just a scratch, it hurt so badly and it burned like fire, I wouldn't stop bleeding. Holding my elbow against my wound, I focused my flashlight where it had disappeared into the bushes. I shakily put my shotgun shells into my shotgun. I saw movement, I aimed, and I shot. I figured it wouldn't hit it with how fast it was moving, but the damn thing started laughing. It was gurgle, deep, animalistic, and human, all at once. The laughter echoed out among the trees. It was enough to make my fear win over my body, and I took off running towards my house. I didn't realize I had walked in so deep, but apparently I had. I heard it chasing me, still laughing. I was its prey, and it was just playing with me as it hunted me down. What did I possibly think I could have done to something as evil and horrible as it? Why the fuck didn't the previous owner warn me about this? These thoughts kept going through my mind as I ran as fast as I could. I would trip over tree roots that had not been there before, but my determination to not let it get any close kept me upright and running. I finally saw a tree line edge and rejoiced. I knew I could get to safety of my house. Just as I got to the edge, a clawed hand grabbed my leg and yanked. I screamed as I felt my leg break. I ran into the back and saw the thing roll over me. It was big, possibly 9 feet, 2.7 meters tall. It had all the features of an animal, but it also had human features. It looked like a mix of wolf, deer, and human. It even had veins on it, and it smelled like death. Just what the hell was this thing? It leaned down over me, and I saw its horrendous, unnatural smile full of razor-sharp and long teeth. I turned my head away, looking for my shotgun, as it was a little far from my hands. If I could reach it, I might have a chance. It laughed, snarled, and growled, scoping me out, seeing my reaction, just getting joy from it. Thankfully, that allowed me to reach for my shotgun. I grabbed it and had it loaded. It leaned a little further back, and it grabbed my face. Right then, I positioned my shotgun and shot it right through the head. It screamed and fell back. I struggled up and half limped and half ran back to my house. I locked all the doors and windows and took cover in my closet. I could hear it move around outside. It called for me in an almost human voice, but I couldn't be fooled. Finally, the sun came, and I could no longer hear it. I struggled to walk to my phone and call 911. I had no idea what I could say, so I told him I was attacked by a mountain lion. The ambulance, police, and wildlife services showed up. I was taken to the hospital and had my wounds and broken leg attended to. The police asked me many questions, but I gave them the bare minimum of answers and lied about some. I mean, who would believe me that something like that monster attacked me? Once I was released, I went back to that house, packed my stuff, and left. As I left the house, I saw it standing among the tree line, just watching me go. I floored the gas and never looked back. I contacted the county later and told them that the house was inhabitable to anyone and asked for it to be destroyed. After much convincing, they agreed, only because the previous house owner stepped up and confirmed it. I wanted to be mad at the previous house owner, but I couldn't. They dealt with that stuff longer than me. Well, that's my story. I'm writing this from my hotel room to warn anyone who reads this. Don't buy a house for cheap, especially near the woods. You might just experience something similar to I. Stay safe out there, people. Reality is truly scarier than fiction.